everybody. How y'all doing tonight? I want to thank everybody for joining in with us tonight. I'm Josh Carter.
And I'm James Bush.
Guys, we got a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We're really excited. It's so much. It's just going to be packed in this show that it's unbelievable. So, guys, I hope that y'all stay with us through the night. We got a lot going on. I mean, we got Brandon Palaniuk. We got Bryan Schmitt. He's coming in, and both of these guys just won an elite event. They just won a FLW event all in the same weekend. So it's gonna be a great show. But James, how you been, man? I know we ain't had a whole lot of chance to talk. I've been trying to do some videos. I got a YouTube video segment I've been trying to follow up on. I've had a cold and just ain't been able to do much with it. But how you been, man? I ain't talked to you in a while.
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Just hanging in there, working all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, it's been raining so much, you might as well. You know what I mean?
I don't know if you might as well just work all the time, but it is what it is.
Yeah. It's I've been wanting to get out in the kayak and take the kayak out down the river and stuff, and it's just been the rivers here. I don't know if y'all have gotten as much as us or more or what, but I know the rivers here just keep staying up. They won't come down to a somewhat tolerable level for me anyways. But what's the weather been like down there for you?
Oh, it's wet as anything down here.
Yeah.
Pretty much the same as up there, probably.
Yeah. It's just been crazy, and it's been crazy with the fishing and all that. But well, guys, we got something I want to talk about before we get Brandon Palaniuk on. I want to tell everybody too, if you got questions and you're watching us on YouTube, or you can send it to us on Facebook. Now I'll go back and forth checking it as we're talking to Brandon. If you got any questions for him or Brian, send them to us. So, but anyway, we got a big giveaway coming up, and I say coming up, we're trying to get to the point to do the giveaway. Anyway, we're trying to get to 200 subscribers. Guys, we've been doing really good with it. We've been getting a couple subscribers through the week. I think, James, right now we're at 94, 93. I can't remember. I didn't check it today. But anyways, it's a great prize pack, guys. You're getting a hat from One Objective. Bob's Up the Creek Outfitters, our main sponsor. He threw in a T-shirt. You got also another One Objective shirt, sticker, a pile load of tackle from Missile Baits. Missile Baits, Bigfoot Baits, some stuff from J&J Custom Tackle. We got some shaky heads here, some drop shots, and then we also got some stuff coming in from our mystery fishing crate. Got several mixtures of lures there. So if you get a chance, guys, go subscribe to our channel. We're going to be doing a lot more contests through that. We're going to be doing a lot more videos as the year goes on with, not only, we're starting a thing this show, doing a lure showcase, and we got a lure we want to talk about that we'll be showing here in just a little bit. It's through Lines Out Custom Tackle. But that's going to be towards the end of the segment. Towards the end of the show. But James, you got to see these things, man. I can't wait to get you one down there and let you see it. It's awesome looking bait. They sent us 2 of them, and I got to show you a real quick glimpse, real quick. So there's what you're looking at. It's a jointed, looks like a little mouse. But anyway, we're going to do more on that later. But anyways, so that's what we got going on. That's our contest right now. Once we get to 200 subscribers, we're going to do a big giveaway. And it's just going to be through our subscribers on YouTube. So it ain't like we're going to pick somebody through Facebook or anything like that, guys. So make sure you go on YouTube and subscribe to us. Guys, we're really reaching out there now. James, I don't know if I was telling you this or not. We're on Reddit now. I'm really learning that one. That one's taking me a little bit to learn. I don't know. I feel old now that I'm messing with some of this social media stuff and trying to figure it out. But anyway, we're on Reddit. We're on Google+. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Oh man, there's some more. James, I don't know, man. I got more out there I can't remember. So I'm trying to keep up with everything and promote, and I'm like, how in the world am I keeping up with this? No wonder my phone's dying through the day. But James, what's your plans this weekend? Are you still coming up here this weekend for Memorial Day?
Yeah, I'll be coming up there this weekend.
We're gonna get together and try to do some fishing.
I hope so.
You better bring your kayak.
I am bringing the kayak with me.
Gotcha. Oh man, we're gonna have a blast.
That's my plan.
Yeah, we're gonna have a blast. We might have to try to, if we don't get much more rain through the week here, we might have to go out and try to hit the river or something, and mess around with it a little bit. But
I ain't gonna save you. I'm not saving you.
We ain't got into that story yet. That might be for later in the show.
I think that's a show in itself.
Yeah, that's a good show right there.
You can share the pictures and all.
Anyways, guys, if y'all are having any, just let me know. I like to try to read through the live chats and stuff like that. If y'all having any issues with streaming of the video, since the storms have come through, things have been kind of funky with the internet here lately. So just let me know. But if not, you can catch the show later because everything will be caught up and be fine as you put it on, as it's on YouTube. So you can view it right after. So, but anyway, yeah. So towards the end of the night, we might get into that story that James was talking about with the whole kayak situation. Very few people know about it, but very few people know about it.
The right people know about it anyway.
Yeah. We I tried to keep that on the DL as much as possible, but yeah. Anyway, so man, I'm all stuck on that now. Would like to thank everybody that has subscribed to us lately. Everybody that's followed us on Facebook and on Instagram. I know we haven't posted a lot there for a while. I was fighting a bad sinus infection and just work, and then James's work. He's been really busy at work, so we haven't been able to post a lot. But we'll be posting pretty regular here soon through the summer and getting more. I'm working on a video right now, James, where I took me and my son, and then we got ran off the river the first day because the storms had come in. But then the second day, me, Chris, and my son went down there and shot some video. We didn't catch nothing big. Chris caught a pretty nice smallmouth down there. I'd say maybe a pound for down there in the Otter. But it's kind of our old stomping grounds, James.
Oh yeah.
We've had.
That's cool.
Yeah, I went and bought some. I think I might have went too light on the ultralight rods, because you can hang a perch on that thing and it looks like bowed over, like you got a marlin on it. But yeah, it's pretty bad. You lay into it and you're like, oh my gosh, this rod is bowed up, and then you pull it up like a 10-inch perch, or not a 10-inch perch, but like a little 6-inch perch or something. You're like, holy moly. But yeah, it was fun. We had a good time. The water was still a little cool. It was neat to see. There's a bunch of smallmouth beds everywhere all up in the river, and it was cool to be able to see that and show my son and be able to point him in the right direction on where to cast and what things to look for in the river to cast at to catch fish, and to be able to tell him, hey man, it should be one over, and you cast over and catch it. It's easier to teach them how to do that when you're catching fish than it is just telling them they should be there, but they're not right now. So, what was that? You shut the door?
I had to let my dog in the house.
I was like, what the world is that noise? But yeah, it was
Don't
pretty
you
cool.
worry about me.
I have to, man. You never know what you're getting into. But
I know, right?
But guys, we got Brandon Palaniuk. He's calling in right now, so we don't want to keep him waiting much more. But we're just going to talk a little bit about his win down in Texas on Sam Rayburn. So let's get him. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, buddy?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, not too bad.
Pretty
man.
good.
We appreciate you calling in tonight. I know you've been pretty busy from yesterday's event.
Yep, it has been quite the busy day, all day long.
So, what's it when you win an elite event? What's it like from then till the next, for the next week or so? I mean, is it just nonstop dealing with us guys and?
Yep, dealing with guys like you all day long. I would not trade it for the world. I've been on my phone since about 7:30 this morning. I woke up with about 192 text messages, and I think that was after responding to about 80 or so yesterday before I went out of service. And it's been pretty busy today. Lots of interviews and, just trying to get caught up and working with the sponsors. They want to take as much advantage of it as they can. So really try to work with them and make sure everybody makes the most of it, because they don't come around very often. It's not easy to win.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that it's so many good guys in there now in the elite events and, into the FLW. And like I say, when it comes, you got to take every advantage of it.
Yep, exactly. It is a stacked field for sure.
Well, Brandon, if you like, can you kind of go into talking about your practice and let's go a little bit about the tournament. This actually ain't like an elite, I guess it's an elite event, but explain the tournament that you fished this weekend.
Yeah, so this tournament is a little bit different format, and what they did is they took what used to be the Toyota Texas Bass Classic, and they combined it with one of our elite events, Bass Fest, and came up with Toyota Texas Fest. And it's a really different format in the fact that we're not bringing our 5 biggest fish to the scales. It's actually a catch, weigh, release format, and it's still based off of our 5 biggest fish, but we're only bringing in our 1 largest fish over 21 inches. And so it's really kind of promoting conservation and the fisheries for the Texas Parks and Wildlife. They're a big part of it and a big supporter of it, and they do a really good job. Probably one of the best states in the entire country as far as promoting bass fishing and really, building their lakes the best they can for bass anglers. And so it's a really cool tournament to come and have that support and give support back to those efforts. And this is the first time in a BASS event that we've really used this format, other than they did it in the bracket tournament last year, but from a full field standpoint, this is the first time. So they had 109 different scales. They were all the same scale, but they had 109 of them, 109 judges. So there's a judge and a scale in every boat and a scorecard, and that's how we weighed all of our fish this week.
Now, I seen one picture on Bassmasters was talking about you forgot to bring that one fish in. It looked like a 5-pounder?
It was the last fish. It was actually the fish that sealed the deal for me yesterday, and it was a 515 that I caught at 236.
Yeah, so you forgot.
And I did. I forgot. I got caught up in the moment. Now, I'm just telling everybody that it was only 20 and a half inches, so it didn't matter anyways. But it was probably really about 22 and a half inches because it was long and lean and mean, and I was so caught up in the moment and so pumped up. And I had been catching fish all day and just catch, weigh, release, and I didn't even think about measuring it and bringing it back in. I just thought about, weighing it, getting that fish back in the water, and trying to catch another one. And I released the fish, not even thinking about bringing it in. So unfortunately, wasn't able to show her off and, be proud of her and thank her properly for allowing her to bite and let me win. But I'm sure she was excited to be able to swim back to her little brush pile.
Yeah. Now, when let's kind of get into a little bit setting up for that tournament. How did your practice go? Did you have a good practice, or was it kind of a grind, or how did that go for you?
This was a tournament that I really didn't know what I was on until the tournament started to transpire. The other elite events I had won, I knew after the first day of practice that I was going to do really well in the event, and it just kind of depended on what everyone else found, depended upon where I was going to end up. And so this one was kind of a tournament where I think I was almost one step ahead of the fish, where as the tournament started and transpired, it actually got better. The areas I was fishing got better. I just was able to get enough clues in practice to get dialed into the big fish and where they were transitioning to. And it happened to be that this was the week that there were more and more fish moving out to those areas where I was fishing. So it was a tricky one. I did not think after practice that I was on the winning fish. I had caught some big ones in practice, 9+ pound fish, and had figured out some areas and, brush piles and things like that I could catch them in. I just didn't know how many of those big bites I would get and what the other kind of filler fish would be for my limits.
So when you pull up on those spots and you're practicing on them, do you catch much out of them, or you just kind of go by bites, or how does that work for you?
Well, in practice, I was really only getting one or maybe two bites at the most off of an area or off of a spot. And when I would idle around and look at my electronics, I was only seeing one or two fish. It wasn't until the tournament that I actually started seeing schools of bigger fish start to show up in those areas. And that's how I knew that there were more fish transitioning out into those areas, because I could idle over a brush pile that maybe only had 2 or 3 fish in it the day before, and I would come back.
Yeah. Are you there, Brandon? I think we lost Brandon a little bit. Hey, Brandon, you there? What did you do, James?
Sorry. It's always my fault.
Yeah. He'll call back. We'll get him back in here in just a minute. But let me message him. He's still down there, I think still down there in Texas, or either on his way back. And they've been going through a lot of rain.
You probably did something.
I didn't do nothing. There he is, right there. Welcome back, buddy. Hey, Brandon. I keep saying Brian.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I got you now, buddy. You there? You losing service, bud.
Hello?
You there? Hey, bud. Earth to Brandon. Oh, boy. It wouldn't be a show without some kind of mix-up now, would it? Hold on a minute, guys. We'll get them back on here in just a minute. James, you done anything with your kayak lately, buddy?
No, I've looked at it.
Looked. You ain't touched nothing on it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I took it out the other weekend and went out to my wife's grandparents' house. Done some cruising around in it.
Yeah.
Got a couple bites in it, but didn't get. It was so windy, I didn't want to get too crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't want a repeat of somebody else's accident.
Yeah. What are you trying to say, man?
Nothing.
Yeah, it was.
But
we'll keep building that story up.
It was white capping in my boat, though, so there was waves crashing into the kayak. It was doing good. Done real good.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. When I took mine out on Smith, it was, I was after my incident, I was a little worried with waves, and it actually did really well. Just I think mine was the circumstances and the situation I was in that I probably shouldn't have been in. But you live and learn, and luckily I was able to live to do it again another day. So.
Yeah, you're a little bit more top heavier than me, though.
Yeah, well, that's not a nice thing to say. Oh man. Well, guys, we'll get Brandon to call back in here in a little bit. He's in a bad spot, but we'll kind of go into the showcase, and if he calls in within that time, we'll get back to him. But guys, this is Line Out Custom Tackle. They started making a mouse. I say started. They've probably been making it for a little while, but anyway, this is a segment we want to start to do and show off tackle for these guys that probably don't get as much exposure as like your big brands like Strike King and all them guys. Oh, there's Brandon there. Let's see if we got him now. You there, Brandon?
Yep, I am. I apologize. I'm in the heart of deep East Texas where there's no such thing as cell phone service. And we actually had to buy a cell phone service booster this week so that we could even function with any business type stuff.
Wow, that's crazy. I know when we went down there to Houston, it was you get in some of them places just driving to Houston and you're like in the middle of nothing.
Yeah, it amazes me.
But now, and so you're getting back. Let's just start with day one and how your tournament went from blast off.
So day one is kind of really the day that set the tone for me, and it started off with my very first fish. I had an area that it was kind of the only area I felt like there were multiple big fish in, that I had a couple big bites in. I caught fish over 9 in practice and shook another big one off. And when I rolled up there, it took me about 10 minutes to kind of get lined up and get everything right. And my very first fish of the tournament was an 8-pound, 4-ounce Sam Rayburn giant.
Wow.
That's unreal.
And that just, it kind of set the tone for my entire tournament and gave me the confidence that I was able to catch those bigger fish, right? And at that time, I didn't know what my other 4 fish were going to be, but I knew I could go catch at least 4 more 2-pounders and have 16 pounds, which at that point I was like, okay, I can catch enough to at least be inside the top 50 cut. And then, things just continued to roll from there. I was able to catch a couple more 5-pounders and ended up with 24.5 pounds that first day and sitting in second place.
Damn, wow. You wasn't expecting that one bit, was you?
I really wasn't. It all just kind of started to come together. I didn't know how many of those big bites I was going to be able to get each day. I figured I could get 1, maybe 2, and, was it going to be a 5-pounder? Was it going to be an 8-pounder? And how many? And it just, like I said earlier, the more and more the tournament went on, the more fish started to show up, and that's when I was able to really kind of get dialed into an area. I had a lot of places during the week that I wanted to fish, but due to weather and wind, I wasn't able to run around as much as I would have liked and didn't get to fish all the areas that I really wanted to. So there were places that I caught 9-pounders in practice that I never fished in the 4 days of the tournament because I got so sucked into just fishing kind of a milk run of deep and shallow water spots that were in close proximity to each other.
So what was some kind of the key baits, like, when you're fishing something in brush piles, what were some of your key baits that really help you fish those effectively?
Yeah, I really had 3 main baits all week, and my shallow water arsenal consisted of a Stormarashi topwalker in the size 13. It's the larger size, it's a little bit bigger topwater that is real loud, creates a lot of commotion on the surface, and really draws those bigger fish out. And I was able to weigh one of my larger fish on that bait every single day except for the final day. And I was able to weigh a fish that anchored my bag, 4.5, 5 pounders each day. And so that was a big key. And my deeper baits were a 10-inch Zumo monster worm in plum color with a 1/2 ounce DMC tungsten weight and a 5/0 heavy duty extra wide gap hook. And when the fish wouldn't eat that, I had that on 15 and 17 pound Seagar and Vizex, and I felt a little bit more comfortable getting those big fish out of the brush piles and the standing timber on that. But when they wouldn't eat that, there were times when those fish were really kind of in a negative mode, and I was able to get those big ones to bite on a Nico rig. And I was throwing that on a Zoom Magnum trick worm in green pumpkin, and the DMC came out with a new a new hook this year. It's a weedless Nico hook. It's actually going to come out this July in ICAST, and that allowed me to be able to throw that bait right into the brush piles and into that standing timber without worrying about getting stuck. And the half moon weight that they came out with for the Nico rig just allowed me to cover water fairly quickly, but still have a finesse presentation. And I was throwing that on a spinning rod, believe it or not, on 10-pound Seagar fluorocarbon.
Wow.
On Seagar Tatsu. And that's actually the bait that I caught that 8.4 on the first day. And, I mean, it had me in a tree for 3 minutes. And I finally battled that fish out of that tree. I mean, you take that fish away, and who knows what happens the rest of the week. But it was quite the crazy battle for 3 minutes.
Now, you say you fought that fish that long. Now, we know you do a YouTube show, which I watch all of everything you've been doing on your tour and all that. And is that going to be on your YouTube channel?
I do have that fish catch on GoPro. I had a GoPro running on my back deck, and you can see me set the hook, fighting that fish, get me stuck in the tree, and me making circles around the tree, doing whatever I can to try to get that fish out. So we'll have to put some cinematic, heart-pumping music, maybe a heart monitor, a little gauge on the video or something to show what was going on, because it was an intense moment, because I knew it was a big one. I caught a lot of big fish on that rod that week, and I could just tell with those giant head shakes. I didn't know if it was a 6 or a 10, or I just knew it was a big one. And it ended up being that 8.4. So it was a really cool moment. Glad to capture it on film, and we've got some really awesome footage for this one. So I'm looking forward to this video coming out.
Well, that really says a lot too for your line that you're using. I mean, to be able to stay on there for that long, and not break your line and get frayed and break or anything like that. So that really says a lot for the line you use too.
Yeah, I was amazed, and I have a lot of confidence in the equipment I was using. I had a lot of confidence in the rod, the line, and that hook. And it really it allowed me to be patient. I knew that if I was patient, as long as that fish wasn't in a position where I couldn't get it out. If I had put my bait into a hole that was smaller than the fish was, that it wasn't coming out, I knew that eventually if I was patient, I was probably going to be able to get that fish out, without trying to horse them out of there. And that's why it took so long. I took my time, let her work her way out, and was able to be successful. And I did that several times during the week with other fish, and it worked out. And then there were several that did not work out in my favor as well, but I knew that was going to be part of it. I just had to mentally prepare myself that I was going to lose some of those fish that I hooked. And it was just because of the heavy cover I was fishing and those techniques that it was bound to happen. I just had to get enough big bites to overcome it.
Yeah. Now, why wouldn't you throw braid in a situation like that? Is it because you're trying to get that bait down? It's like a smaller line, a finesser line.
For me, I really try to stay away from throwing braid around any types of hard cover. Now, I had braid as my main line, so I had a 15-pound Seagar Smackdown braid on the actual spinning reel, but I throw that 10-pound leader because what happens is in that situation where you're around, wood in this case, standing timber, brush piles, that braid is so small diameter and the low stretch will actually dig into the wood and kind of groove in. And so if you think of like an old splintered piece of wood that has those little cracks and crevices in it, when that fish is sliding down that wood or that log, the braid will actually slide in and cut into that wood a lot more than what a fluorocarbon will. And so I really like to have that fluorocarbon contact that is able to almost act as like a springboard to kind of help those fish get up and over those limbs and through that kind of stuff. And braid is great around soft cover like grass and lily pads and things like that, and works really good as a main line. But when it actually comes to having a physical contact with any types of hard cover, I really try to stay away from braid.
Yeah. James, you got anything for me before we go into any more questions?
No, I think that was good information. I don't think a lot of people know about that, using your braids around wood and stuff. I think that's really good information for people.
Yeah. Yeah, I never really thought about that either. That's pretty good, though. But, now, going into the last day, let's say the day, not the last day, the day before the last day, did you have much pressure with other anglers and then also the spectators? Did you have much pressure with that kind of dictated on how you fished your spots?
All week, I really had the whole area that I was fishing, especially the main stretches I was fishing, I had to myself, which kind of surprised me. I thought a lot more guys would kind of be in those areas, and there just wasn't. I was kind of fishing out of the way stuff that wasn't as obvious. And there were a few places that I shared with guys, but I had enough other stuff that I was able to work around it and get my timing down well. And there were quite a few spectator boats on Friday, which is the third day, just because I had been successful throughout the tournament, and I caught them really good early on Friday on that third day. And I was a little bit nervous about that. I didn't run around and put a lot of pressure on my fish. I caught 24.5 pounds pretty early on that third day. Actually had the exact same weight that I did the first day. And I just didn't want to show those spectator guys too much. I trust a lot of people, but I know how much some people like to catch big fish, and we had an off day on Saturday, and I just didn't want to show too many people what I was doing and where I was doing it, where maybe they would be out there fishing Saturday when we had an off day. And, so I took that into consideration. Whether or not anybody fished on Saturday, I will never know. But at least I know now that it didn't affect it enough to cause me a win.
Yeah. How was Saturday for you? Was you mind racing 100 miles an hour? Was you able to actually relax and enjoy the day off, or was it just stressful for you the whole day?
Well, I volunteered to take one of the high school All-American kids out fishing on Saturday. I had volunteered before the event, and when that came up, they asked me if I still wanted to do it, and I said, of course, leading the event or not, I said I would do it. So I did that. That kind of helped keep my mind off of it. But even the whole time I was out there, we were fishing, and I was thinking about Rayburn. I just got done catching a bunch of big ones, and all I wanted to do was get back out there and catch a bunch of big ones and just close the deal, and finish it off. So it was a good, relaxing day. I was able to have fun. Actually won the high school All-American event with my high school kid that I was fishing with. So I guess you could say it was maybe a little bit of a momentum builder, a little bit more of a confidence builder.
Yeah, that's pretty cool there. I mean, you know it's your weekend when you're winning that event and and winning
Yep.
that too. So, but so going, did you witness any of that too? You was talking about spectators fishing your spots. You was worried about it, but did you see any of that? Like when you pulled up on any of your spots in the morning, anybody fishing them, or was everybody pretty decent about it?
On the final day, it was a weekend, Sunday, there was definitely a lot more people out and about and fishing around, and there were more guys kind of offshore in the areas, but there really wasn't too many people on my main stuff, and again, I think that's just because a lot of the stuff I was fishing was less obvious. I wasn't fishing just right on the main points and things like that. I was fishing more off to the sides and the stuff that maybe a lot of guys overlooked, and I think that helped a lot. Those fish were a little bit less pressured, and I think even the fish that were out on the more obvious stuff, when they did get pressured, would slide off to those areas, and it kind of allowed me to fish all the stuff that I wanted to and have a rotation where I didn't have to worry about somebody pulling up on it and fishing it while I wasn't there.
Yeah. Well, that's good on that part, because I mean you hear an event here and there, some people fighting with guys that seen them catching them fish there and go fishing during tournament time. So that's good that played out for you there. So, but we got I got two questions here for you. One is says how do you stay consistent as a weekend angler?
I would say staying consistent as a weekend angler, the hardest thing to do is not have a closed mind. Really fish with an open mind and not get stuck just fishing history, not just fishing spots, but really having an open mind and paying attention to the conditions and how those fish are reacting to those current conditions and even past conditions. Because a lot of times a lake won't set up on the second or third week of May exactly like it did the year before or the next year, because maybe winter was a little bit warmer or a little bit cooler, or maybe there was more rainfall, in the month of April or May. And that's something that I think a lot of just kind of weekend guys miss. And I used to be guilty of it. I would just run around and I was fishing spots, and I really wasn't paying attention to what the fish were always doing. And if you can do that, it'll help you be a lot more consistent.
Now, do you also think, I hear some of the local guys that do really well here. I know time on the water does well, but if you spend too much time, let's say you fish every weekend on the lake or a couple days through the week too, do you think that can hurt you sometimes, or do you think it makes, obviously I think it gives you a better chance than everybody, but do you think it can hurt you too?
I think it all depends on how well a guy is able to use it to his advantage. And that just goes kind of back down to, is he using it to gain information about how the fish are moving and how they're reacting to those current conditions, or is he just looking to find spots and he just wants to fish those spots? And there's certain times of year that works, right? If you're on a place like Kentucky Lake that, you're ledge fishing and it's middle of summer and those fish are out there and they're probably going to be there all summer, then yeah, it can be a deal where, you idle around and you spend a lot of time and it may help you. But it can hurt you in the fact that you can become closed-minded if you do get out there and you get dialed into one thing and you're catching them so good, and then things change. You can almost have too much confidence in that. Sometimes, like this week, even me and Ayler, we were joking about it, saying that you almost had to fish confused and almost not know exactly what your next move was going to be, and that allowed you to fish a little bit more freely.
Gotcha. Got one more here. It says it's 2:30. I see. Wait a minute. 2:30 comes. It's pretty much saying it's 2:30 on you're on a tournament day. You only have one fish. What do you do? Pray to the fish gods.
That's one thing you better start doing. I probably would have started doing that way before. I probably would have started that at 10:30. But, and I mean, the best thing to do is, and that kind of just goes back to what I was saying is, don't be afraid to change it up.
Yeah.
If you're in an area and that's something where time on the water can help you, where in that decision making of, okay, what has happened? Why did the fish change? What conditions changed? And then you have to decide, is it the bait that you're throwing that's not working anymore? Do you need to slow down or speed it up or change, what depth of the water column you're targeting? Or did those fish just completely vacate that area completely? And I think that's, one of the hardest things that we deal with in our sport at any level of tournament fishing is that decision-making process, knowing when to go, when to stay, when to change baits. And that's what makes the sport so unique. We're competing against another living creature, other human beings, and Mother Nature all at the same time with a ton of variables mixed in. And there's no black or white answer to anything. And so it's kind of one of those things that at that point, you got nothing to lose. And so the best thing to do is just go with your gut instinct. Sometimes, like when I'm in a funk like that, I just have to pick up the trolling motor and just run down the lake. And just run down the lake till I see the first thing that I think looks good that's going to hold the bass. And start fishing it. And that could be a variety of things. It could be a dock that just all of a sudden looks good, or a riprap bank. And whatever that may be is going to decide what bait I'm going to throw at it.
Gotcha. I was kind of going through Instagram and looking at, following John Cruz, and he's big with the autism, and they ended up giving you the trophy for Autism Angler of April award for catching. How do they do that? The most weight, or most money raised through the most weight. How does that work?
It was a combination of both those things. It was a combination of total pounds weighed in the month of April, and then also the total amount of money that we raised for our local autism charities. And then he did an average of those two. And I was second in both of those. So I ended up with the highest average between the two, and was able to win that award. And that was one that I was really shooting to win that award. When they first brought that out, I've always supported what John's done with the autism awareness every year. And I thought it was really cool that he had brought it kind of to the next level, where he knew that he made a smart move. He knew how competitive we are as Elite Series anglers. It could be a game of yard darts or something, and we're all going to be trying to beat each other. And, that was a great way for us to kind of bring out our competitive nature and really bring awareness to something that is growing. It's a growing problem in the U.S., and John's been a huge supporter of it, does a great job with it, and it was something that, that trophy meant a lot to me, because it was something that was a good cause, and it was raising awareness and having a positive level on a scale that we probably can't even register, because there's a lot of, maybe inspiration and things that come from that we don't see directly. And that's the kind of things that matter more to me than an Elite Series win, really.
Yeah. John does a lot, and to be able to have him, help us out with our show and all, it's an honor with that as well. But he does a whole lot with that. And did he? I don't know if you can say or not. Did he ever say how much y'all raised total altogether for all that?
I never did hear what the total was, as far as all the anglers. So I'm not sure. I didn't hear on that. That'd be a good question, though.
Yeah, I'll have to ask him next time I see him. But James, you got anything? I'm gonna go into one more topic with him, and then we'll let him get going. You got anything else for him before we move on to the next topic?
No, I think you're doing a great job.
All right. Well, we know you got your YouTube channel. I was gonna go into it earlier, but I didn't want to get too far off the subject. But I just want to ask a couple questions with that. Do you got a guy that's just actually following you around and filming, or is that kind of like collaborating with you and a friend, or how do you got all that set up?
Yep, I've got a guy who is actually a friend as well that is filming everything. So I decided that I wanted to start this project and started putting out kind of, feelers out to everybody I knew that may have a contact to somebody that could film and edit, because I love to do it, but anymore I don't have the time, and I also can't get all of the angles and all of the filming stuff by myself while I'm fishing a tournament as well. So I hired a guy that I knew from GoPro, and he's been able to come out on the road with me, and he's pretty much lives with us in the trailer the full time and films and edits from here. So we've got a traveling office of media workflow going on.
What's that like having? I guess you always got a camera when you're in an Elite event, but what's it like traveling with a camera in your face all the time?
It takes a little getting used to. You get a lot of really funny looks, like going into gas stations and restaurants and things like that. People just wondering what in the heck is going on. You get some people that kind of get weirded out by it and ask questions, but I've gotten used to it. Kind of the point that I forget that it's even there sometimes. And I deal with the awkwardness sometimes because I really want people to be able to see kind of all aspects of it. Bass does a great job of covering the actual event, but they can only cover so many guys, and they only have so much workflow to deal with to be able to tell everybody's story. And every single guy in every single tournament has a story, whether it's one big one that he lost that, made him miss the cut, or he maybe dropped 20 places, or a guy caught a really big one and made the cut, and so there's always a story to every guy, and why they finished where they did. And I'm just trying to tell that story and inspire people and show them kind of what it really looks like to be a professional angler at this level.
How long does it take, which I know he's doing your editing, because that was going to be one of the questions, but how long does it normally take after shooting a video and getting it all up? Because I'm sure he's got a pile load of film to go through.
He's got a lot, and that just it really depends on how our events stack up. If we've got back-to-back events, it becomes really difficult because you can't edit and film at the same time. But if we've got some time and he really sits down and works hard at it, he can get a really good full edit done in, a week to 2 weeks, I would say.
Yeah. Now, I know, a while back when you first really got on the tour and was doing really well, and was still doing really well, but and you were doing a lot of your videos there too. I mean, was you kind of using the GoPro software, or how was you doing all that yourself too, especially being on tour? Was it taking up a lot of time?
It did. It took a lot of time, and I was running GoPros and using a mix of GoPro Studio and Final Cut Pro, and just building videos when I could, and whenever I had free time, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed showing people those different aspects, and it was something that really wasn't out there in the space when I started doing it. And I kind of started filming my adventures all the way back into 2010, the year right before I made the Elite Series. There's still some of those old videos floating around on my YouTube page. from then. And, you know, I wanted to step it up to the next level this year and show, you know, all aspects of it. Show from, you know, in kind of a more cinematic, documentary, short film style.
Yeah. Well, man, you've been doing really good with it. I enjoy. Well, I watch yours and I watch Hunter's and you know all of them. The 496
Well, thank
films.
you.
And that it's just awesome to watch it. That's like my right before bedtime thing. I watch that and then I get all pumped and I can't go to sleep and ready to go fishing.
I appreciate it. That's why I usually try to post them in the morning so it gets you pumped up for your day.
But well, man, you know you're sitting in sixth in points right now. You know, what's your goal?
You're not supposed to tell me that.
I'm sorry, dude. I did not know that. You didn't hear that. Actually, you're doing really bad.
I haven't looked at points in 3 years.
Hey, I'm the guy that ruined it for you. That's what I do. But
yeah.
How you staying consistent? I mean, is there you just being more versatile, or is there?
I fish to win every day. I don't fish to win the tournament. I fish to win every day. And I've just learned to, one, I don't look at points because I don't want to make decisions based on where I sit in the points. I don't want to be worried about, I might drop 20 places and lose those points. I try to make decisions based on catching the most weight possible every single day. And really that has helped me make better decisions on the water and kind of fish more freely and not worry about failing, I guess, and just really catching the most weight possible every day. And, you know, not laying off of them very often. And that's kind of been my approach the last 3 years, and just not caring about what the points are and figuring that if I catch the most weight possible every single day that I can, then I'll be good at the end of the year.
Gotcha. Well, that's good now. And if you do bad the rest of the year, I'm going to feel terrible because I just ruined all that for you. But I'll be that guy again.
I'll forget about it, hopefully.
Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. I know you're really busy, and James, I don't know if you got anything else for him.
I mean, you've been covering everything pretty thoroughly, so.
Yeah. I've been a mic hog tonight, and I'm sorry. But Brandon, I do appreciate it, man. I want to wish you the best of luck the rest of this year, and look forward to seeing your next video coming out.
Yep, I appreciate it. Toledo Bend is done, and it's actually uploading to YouTube as we speak. All right. So that should be coming out within the next 2 days, I would say.
Awesome.
Is there any sponsors that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one of mine, Rigid Industries, LED lighting. They've been a huge supporter of mine all the way back to 2012. They've been my title sponsor now for 5 years, and they've done a really good job of kind of creating a market in the space that didn't exist. LED lighting didn't really exist on boats 5 or 6 years ago, so it's been really cool to kind of be a part of that and see that transpire. So huge thanks to those guys. And a newer one for me in the last couple of years has been Crosse Industries. Really cool company program that is supporting, outdoorsmen that love automotive stuff. So guys that hunt, fish, military guys, anyone that likes to add any aftermarket automotive stuff to their vehicle, anything from floor mats to lift kits, wheels, tires. They've got sponsorship programs for all different levels of anglers, weekend warriors, all the way up to the Elite Series tour level guys. So those are kind of the two main ones that we'll list for now. It'll take me 20 or 30 minutes to list them all, probably.
Yeah, I hear you.
And then I would leave somebody out, and I'd feel bad.
Yeah. Well, Brandon, I appreciate it, buddy. And man, just be careful on your next endeavor. And I hope everything goes great for you the rest of the year.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah. Thank you for coming on.
All right. Well, now that I know that I'm that guy that just told Brandon Palaniuk where he's at in points, he's going to do bad the rest of the year. I'm going to feel terrible when I go to bed. But
yeah, you're a jerk anyway.
I
so.
know. I got to live with it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
No, James, I don't know if you've had the chance to really, catch Brandon Palaniuk's YouTube channel out. I know where you're at. It's kind of hard with internet and stuff, but if you ever get the chance, you're at work and you're on your lunch break or something like that, you really need to go in there and check out his series as he's doing, like, behind the scenes.
Oh, I know. I have checked it out. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool stuff. Between him and 496 Films, they just do some really good. I wished I could edit to that level, but it ain't no telling how much time is in that. But them guys do really good, and it's just always cool to see behind the scenes of the pros. But yeah, Brandon Palaniuk's had a really good year so far, and I mean, I know he's had some good years and some bad years, but this year he's been really, really doing well, and just glad to see it. So I'm going to send Bryan a message here and try to get him to get ready to call on in. Let's see. But anyway, yeah, just to be able to get Brandon on. Like I say, know he's busy. He's got a lot going on, and to be able to get him in like we did was awesome. So, no, I just lost my train of thought what I was going to say. I'm really good at that. But anyways, so James, when you come up, we're going to try to start doing some videos, and talking to Brandon Palaniuk's inspired me some more. What are some of the kind of areas that you like to fish when you get up here? We're just going to kind of stay local with some ponds, or we need to go out and do a video if your wife will let you go out on some kind of lake at nighttime and catch some stripers with thundersticks.
I don't need my wife's permission.
Oh, well, we'll see about that, guys. If you don't see that video come up, he didn't get permission.
Yeah, I just don't like night fishing that much, but
yeah,
I like to sleep more than
yeah, you just got to be a man to do it, Can't be a whiny boy. You got to go out there and do it. Hang in one of them big. And they've been catching some really big bass too at nighttime doing that. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also, I didn't tell you either, James. Kind of want to congratulate my dad. He got him Dad bought him another bass boat this weekend. He bought.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. He bought. It was a guy locally, WA. He lost his battle with cancer, and has a really nice Triton, and loaded with electronics from a 9 to a 12 to it's touch screen with 3D. Dad ain't gonna know how to use none of it. I'm gonna have to take. He ain't gonna know how to cut the daggone things on probably, but yeah, he's really tickled in getting that. So y'all probably seeing his other boat up for sale here soon. So, but anyways, before we get too carried away, we got Bryan. He's calling in now. We're gonna talk to him.
All right.
Hey, Bryan, how you doing, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we can hear you pretty good. How you doing tonight?
Good, man. I'm driving a little bit further for the night, and then I'm going to stop and drive the rest in the morning. So everything's going good.
Where are you at right now?
Just came through Chicago. So
Oh, man.
I'm just getting out of the city here.
Yeah, I keep hammering down, buddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna get at least an hour away from here before I stop.
Yeah, I don't blame you. So, tell us a little bit about your day, man. I want to congratulate you on your win, and know that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome to see you get your win there, and especially on the Mississippi. We know you're a pretty good river fisherman, so you know, kind of. I was talking to Dylan Hayes and a couple other guys, and you know your name come up there. So, but tell us a little bit how your day's been since you got the win.
Well, it was a really cool day. We actually did the day 5 shoot FLW. They ask you to stay extra day, and they kind of get on the boat with a camera. You just do like your winning pattern, one-on-one, and walk them through exactly how you did it, how you found it, and all the baits and equipment and everything. And the funny thing was, I never caught a fish over 3.5 pounds through practice or the tournament. And we actually got to the spot. The water had come up about a foot. It's getting to be, extreme flood level on the Mississippi River and everything. And we got the camera guy set up on the little island, and we power poled down and decided to start fishing. And Kyle Wood said, "Go ahead, start fishing." And my first cast is in the line. My first cast, I caught a 4 3/4. So I'm like, "Where were you at all week?" and everything like that. But it was, it was cool to see the fish were still there. I think they were coming there by the minute, but we got done with that. It was a cool shoot, and been driving since about 3 o'clock.
Wow. So you've been busy. Had a long day.
Yep. And I'm actually stopping right here to pay another toll. It won't take me but a second, but so yeah, it's been a crazy day.
Well, tell us a little bit about your practice. How did practice go for you? Did you get on a bite that you thought that you had a chance at winning, or you just kind of like, I might be able to make a cut with the weight I'm catching?
I kind of clicked with the place really quick. I've never been there, but it was, shallow grass. I felt comfortable, and the spot that I won off of, man, I found it midday, day 1, and you always get that special feeling if you see a couple big fish, and I did have a special feeling. I did not know it was going to be what it was, by any means, but I caught a couple fish in there frogging and throwing around a stick bait and stuff like that, and then I actually saw a couple fish swimming around and a few on beds, so I was like, wow, this place has a few fish in it and everything, and I don't know, it turned out to be the deal, man. And I spent, I like to see everything in practice, and I sampled pool, the lower pool there, I believe it's pool 9. I sampled that a little bit, and that had a few fish and everything, and I decided to commit to pool 8 after midday. Oh, 1 second. Let me just pay this toll. One second.
Ahead, bud.
All right, I'm sorry.
You're all right. It's behind the scenes right there. Oh, man. We'll get back in.
Hello?
Yo, you're there.
All right, yeah, sorry. So I'm free there.
You're all right.
There's a weird toll. You actually gotta pay pay a machine, and I got the trailer, and it's, I don't know, but
Yeah, it gets
I'm
expensive
back.
going through those tolls, pulling a trailer.
Yes, sir.
But like you were saying about your, you was committing to pool 8 and.
Yeah. So the funny thing is, I practiced down 9, and I actually found some fish that, I thought were pretty good, and I found a couple different areas. So my plan was to go to pool 8 and stay in pool 8 if they were biting. I didn't want to have to run and lock through and take all those gambles, because I was sitting in good points, and I'm thinking about the Forest Wood Cup. So day 1, I start in the winning spot, and I catch 2, and it for some reason it wasn't happening. When I found the fish, they were really, really shallow. They were close to the bank. It was like a protected little pond I was fishing. And I caught 2 on top water, and about an hour went by, and that was it. And then I got out on the outside edge of the grass and threw a buzz bait, and I caught another one. But I was kind of already dead set on, like, hey, I'm going to go lock through. This isn't happening. I'm going to lock through and go change it up here and go catch a limit. And I did that. But when I got to the lock, the lady, the lock tender, she's like, you're making a big mistake. I told all the guys this morning, if you're locking through, you're taking a big gamble. We got a lot of barge traffic today. You're really probably not going to get back through. And this is as I'm locking, I'm already committed. And that, like, really sent a panic. It was like, this isn't a good feeling. So I raced to my best spot, got my limit, luckily, really quick and a decent fish. And I decided to turn around and just go right back. I said, I secured enough points. Let's get the heck out of here. This is a recipe for disaster. I got back in pool 8. I went right back to that spot and got on the outside edge and just started whacking them. And it was like a light bulb went off, like, wow, all the fish had dropped out to the outside edge because the water was falling, and it just made so much sense. And I weighed in like 14-12, and, that was it. I said, I do not need to lock through. I'm going there. So that's how it kind of progressed.
Wow. So what was kind of your key baits that got you your win?
There was 2 baits. I took a half-ounce jig. It's called the Minima jig from Riot Baits. It's a very compact. It has like an arrow-shaped head on it. It's super small profile, and I actually started swimming it. I was flipping it around and swimming it, and it was really good in the grass. And I just put a little. It's called a fuzzy beaver. I put that on the back of it, dyed it chartreuse, and I was swimming that through the grass and flipping it on any pieces of cover I would come by, and then a vibrating jig as well. And that was it, man. I mean, pretty much day 2 on, that's all I threw.
Wow. So, I mean, through the tournament, did you have to make adjustments just as where they were located at? Because with the water coming down, and I know you said the first day you did,
yeah.
But
yeah. So that was the deal with this particular spot. It was a large pond. I mean, you could fish it all in one day, but it had 2 grass beds. It had one on the left side going in and one on the right side going in that would parallel the bank. And then it had a trench outside both of those grass beds and then a flat in the middle. And so during practice, the water was dropping. The first day of the event, the water was still dropping, and then it stopped and it started rising, and it rose quickly. I mean, I'm talking a couple feet in 2 days. So what happened, the current, there was a little entrance in this pond that was letting current come through. And the fish on that falling water all pinned up on the lower corner of this pond, right where it would make an eddy before it would meet the main river channel. And they were all on the outside edge of the grass in the sparsest little pieces you could find. And during the tournament, you know, when the water started rising, you naturally want to start fishing the inside edge, or you want to start moving up with the water, but the fish never moved. They stayed, which really didn't make sense to me at all, but they stayed on the deep grass edge through the rising water and everything. But the only thing that I did every day, I would kind of evolve or stumble on a new little section that would be hot. Like, you know, it was a general area, but every day they would kind of move up and down this little stretch. And once you would find them, you would catch a couple really quickly, and then you'd have to let it rest. And I would go over to the other side of the pond and do the same thing, and then swap back and forth. But you would try to let it rest an hour at least. And it was like they would regroup, and you'd catch a few again real quick. And you would just, it was full of fish, man. It was one of the best fish catching tournaments I've ever had. I mean, you would catch 10 inchers, and then you would catch a 3-pounder. You know, it was just full of them. And that's how, you know, it just continued through 4 days.
Yeah. I mean, the weights, just watching the weights and talking to a couple of guys that fished it, you know, the weights were so close, you know. It was crazy how many good weights were brought in, but you know, some guys didn't even make the cut just because a couple of ounces, you know, and wound up 60 at some places.
That was the deal. That this place, a 3-pound fish was gold. And here's the deal. This is, you know, driving home, you start to think about stuff. And during practice, there was a heavy spawn going on. And everyone got keyed on. And not necessarily everybody was looking at them spawning, but they were relating, you know, to spawning fish super shallow. So here's what happened. The fish.
We're losing you, buddy. Well, I think we're losing them. It's been.
Hello?
I'm getting you, buddy. You're slowly coming in.
Can you get me now?
Yeah, I can hear you a little bit. You're still kind of in and out, but we can hear you a little bit better.
So, you want me to continue talking?
Yeah, go ahead, bud.
So the deal was, on my spot, I was in the middle of the river in a protected pond, and I think I was catching the last of the pre-spawners. The fish that I found in there in practice were also dropping out to the edge, but I was catching some fish that were coming in from the main river because of the extra current flow. They were forced in there. I was catching some fat pre-spawners, and that was the difference in, you know, a fish weighing 2.5 and a fish weighing like 214 because they're fat.
Yeah.
And that the rest of the field, if you look at a lot of guys where they were fishing real tight to the bank or structure. Their fish were spawners or ones that just got done, and they weighed a hair less than what I was catching. That was the key. Like, my fish weren't any longer or nothing like that, but they just all had bellies on them.
Yeah, that's a big difference there. You know, a couple of ounces. You figure how much weight they lose from the spawn to losing eggs to all that, and that's a big difference when it comes to that kind of a tournament.
Yep, and see, there was a perfect storm. I didn't know it was going to happen, but you know, this place I was fishing was surrounded by the main river channel, and then you had some sparse grass beds all around there. I just think any fish in this 4-mile, 3-mile sector was just running into this pond by the minute to get out of that current, and the bait was coming in and everything like that. So I go into it thinking I'm going to catch spawners and fry garters and all that, and it turned into being, a two-prong approach where I had the fish coming to me that were already in there and the fish coming in. And that's why, when things like that happens, when a special tournament comes, like stuff's coming to you.
Yeah.
So, I was lucky. I look at it like this. If I didn't have the Forest Wood Cup on my mind, I might have spent more time down in 9 and might not have come back up there as quick as I did and figured out those fish. But, everything happened for a reason this week, man. It worked out.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. James, did you have some? I know you had some stuff you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I fished with you against you and a bunch of BFLs down this way up on the Potomac and the James River and all that stuff like that. And I just know you're well known for like the Potomac and the James, all tidal water stuff. How did that play into how you figured out the fish on the Mississippi?
So that was the biggest, the number one key for me was because of that, having so much experience on tidal water with current. So this place, this was a river. It didn't have current, or didn't have tide, but it had current. And just knowing how the fish use that current to their advantage was key. Because, see, a lot of people, they showed up to this river thinking it's this phenomenal fishery, and it is, but they just didn't understand the current. And, this system had a lot more current, but the fish still used it, and they used it to their advantage. And that, by far, all the experience on the tidal water was key for me on this. I clicked with the place really quickly. Once I found the grass and got a few bites and seen how they were, relating to it. And then once it developed in the tournament to how they were set up, it was just like fishing the Potomac or the James. It was, you start to feel really comfortable, and then you have the confidence too. So that was key, man.
Awesome. So how excited are you about going back to the Potomac in June?
Oh, man, I know. I'm super excited. I got momentum, so I'm going to go home, get back to the real world, and, kind of rest a day or two, and then I'm going to switch gears. I'm going to be back to work and everything. Well, I'm going to switch gears mentally right to the Potomac. I want to keep the ball rolling, big time, man.
Oh, yeah, it would be.
Go ahead, James. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it'd be huge. Because, I know to me, you're like the man up at the Potomac when it comes to, like, all the BSL stuff like that and everything like that. No matter who's fishing it, you're always, like, the guy to beat, in my opinion. So I think it's pretty cool that you have this momentum going into this next event.
Yeah, definitely. I thank you for that. I think momentum's huge too, man. So, I'm in a good place mentally. I'm making good decisions right now. So hopefully it can just continue.
I hear you.
Well, I got a question for you. We actually did kind of cover a little bit of it. It says, how do you feel going to the next event, which you already covered that on the Potomac, but do you think the Mississippi and the Potomac are going to fish alike?
For me, they will. I'm going to be doing the exact same thing somewhere on the Potomac. Same depth, everything. I'm going to be fishing grass 2 to 4 foot, throwing the same baits, man. So the guys at FLW were teasing me. They were kind of like, this is like a warm-up for you. And I'm like, actually, it is. I mean, this is exactly how I'm going to do it, and if I'm going to win, I'm going to be doing the same thing I did. So it's key, man. Things line up sometimes, and it's lined up. I might not do anything on the Potomac, but, I'm confident right now and everything like that. So it should be good.
Yeah, that's, with you sitting in, I don't want to take. Have you looked at your points lately? Because I just ruined it for a guy before you. He didn't want to know what it was in points. But do you know where you're sitting at in points right now?
Yeah, yup.
Okay.
Yep.
I told Brandon Palaniuk where he's at, and he's like, "You're not supposed to tell me that. I didn't want to know that." So I didn't want to ruin it for you either. But so
no, I'm
go ahead.
I'm sitting in 7th, man. I moved up to 7th, so I got a long shot at Angler of the Year and it's because, Brian Thrift has had the all-time best year ever documented for, FLW. He's had 4 top 10s, a 13th, and this was his worst tournament, like a 70th. So he has a substantial lead. But the good news is I'm going into Potomac not really worried about points. Like I'm pretty well into the championship, so we can just, you know what I mean? The pressure's off.
Yeah.
We can just swing for it.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. Are you just going to go in and fish conservatively, or are you going to swing for the fences now?
Definitely swing. This is exactly how I wanted to go into the Potomac with these kind of points, and so now it's 100% focused on figuring out how to win that event.
Gotcha. I got another question here for you. I know you're a big river fisherman, but also when it comes to like big lakes and Junior J.R. Mitchell was sending this question. He said, anglers without a brush piles, what other options would one look for at this time of the year? Now, kind of give you an idea, I know you probably fished that lake before. It's loaded with docks and it's loaded with rock, but this time of the year it becomes a big brush pile tournament. But if you don't have brush piles, what is your next best thing to go to?
Okay, so there's a couple of variables. I don't know if this lake comes up or down at all, if it always stays pretty, consistent water level.
Yeah, it stays pretty consistent.
If it comes up, okay, all right. If it stays consistent, you're going to have a few leftover fry garters hanging around the docks, and they can be big, but if you don't have brush, it's going to be your points. Your closest big points, leading out to the main river channel or the deeper water closest to where they spawned, or any kind of little humps, small little rises real close to the, where I mean rises, I mean like offshore rises, like anywhere you can get a little hump, maybe goes from 10 foot up to 6 foot, real close, to where they spawn too. I would definitely relate my approach to the closest spawning areas, and if you know where a lot of fish spawn too, could help.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, that's a great answer there. James, you got anything else for him, question wise?
Not that I can think of right offhand.
I got him on the spot there. Well, Bryan, I think we're gonna Gary cut you loose here in a little bit, buddy. What are some good ways people can follow you? Whether it be social media or website or.
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for asking. I got two social media pages. It's Bryan Schmitt Fishing, BrynSchmitt Fishing on Facebook and on Instagram. And I try to keep up consistently posting there. You can follow me on that. And then I got a Bryan Schmitt Fishing website. I do some guiding on the Potomac and stuff like that. Other than that, just keep following me on the tour, man. Hopefully I can keep doing well.
Yeah, that's what we'd like to get you back on the show again here in the next couple of weeks. So you got to do good, because that'd be a great show to be back to back.
That would be good. I hope we are doing it.
One more thing, you're talking about Riot Baits, and for people that, to be honest with you, I don't know a whole lot about them. Can you talk a little bit about them real quick? I wanted to ask you that earlier, and I forgot about it.
Definitely. So Riot Baits is, America, made in the USA, American-owned company, and they're based out of New Jersey. And the owner fishes a lake called Lake Hopatcong in New Jersey, and it's a small lake, heavily pressured. So what he's done, he's come up with a small line of bait that's, just what I call they're called specialty bait. They're tweaked a little bit better to get you a few more bites. So I actually believed in the product before I even teamed up with them. So now he's got a full line of jigs, anywhere from flipping to football to finesse jigs and a vibrating jig. He's got stick baits, creature baits. I mean, he's got it all covered for what you need to keep it within a small realm, with not getting into every single kind of bait. He's got what you need, though, to catch fish. And, there's just a small company. They're growing, big time, actually, but, just good people, well run, good products, man. I believe in it. It's just, like I said, when you come from a place that is heavily pressured like that, you're going to figure out ways to get a few more bites. So then I take that stuff and I go to these phenomenal fisheries, and now I'm getting even more bites, and I think the more bites you get, the better. So they're good products. Definitely check them out.
All right, man. Yeah, I was writing that down now. I'm gonna be checking them out, and because, like I say, the lake that we fish here locally, Smith Mountain Lake, it's a very pressured lake. It's a lot of pressure on it, and sometimes you're having to go to really small stuff. Big stuff works sometimes, but sometimes the bite gets real tough. You gotta go to really small stuff. So I'll be checking them out, and I'll be putting a link in the bottom of our descriptions for everybody listening to go check them out. So. But Bryan, I appreciate you coming on, man. I want to tell you again, congratulations on your win, and I hope to be doing this again here soon.
Definitely, guys. Thank y'all for having me, and let's just plan on it. Let's plan on I'll be back. How about that?
That sounds good, man.
Right
You'll
on.
be here. We'll go ahead and put it in the books.
Cool deal.
But well, man, I appreciate it, and you have a safe trip back, and I hope you get out of Chicago as quickly as possible.
All right, guys. Thank you again, and I'm actually coming up on another toll.
All right, Bubba, you have a good one, man.
All right, you have a good
All
night.
right, guys.
See you.
Thank you, guys.
No
Bye-bye.
problem, man. See you. All right, that was a great conversation. I've had a couple of people on here saying, thanks for the show tonight, but don't leave just yet, guys. I know it's been a while, but we got just a couple little odd end things left I want to talk about. Let me get my screen right here. There we go. Anyways, we started going into this conversation, and then I got Bryan to call in. So, what do you think, James? I mean, I think that's going to be a knockout, drag-out when he comes to Potomac. Especially with everything kind of setting up like it was for the Mississippi.
Oh, I think it's going to be a great event for him, no matter what. He's going to do well. he'll do very well in that tournament.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be one I'll probably sitting by the computer watching the live feed and checking it out. So, but anyways, I got people distracting me here. But yeah, it's going to be a good event, and I was wanting to make it up there, and the way my work is I'm going to be on call that weekend, and then my son will be leaving for camp, so I don't think I'm going to make it up there. I wanted to get up there and do some coverage for everybody, but maybe guys like Con James and going up there and doing some coverage, we'll have to see. But if you ain't too busy working.
I don't know. It's possible. I might be too busy working. Maybe I can take a day to go up there.
Just one day. At least a couple hours anyways. But
if I take a day, I'm taking the boat.
I don't blame you. I might just have to say I didn't have no cell phone service that day. I couldn't get no calls.
Yeah, I know, right?
But no, man, I just can't believe the show that we had tonight with Brandon Palaniuk and Bryan, and it just two guys won tournaments on Sundays, and they're all both 4 and 5 day long tournaments. Let's say 4 days, but they're two different parts of the country, but they both won, and it was just nice to have them on the show and be able to cover both sides, on the elite and the FLW side. So I just really want to thank them guys for coming on. It was a big show for us, and also having a new segment, that I was talking about earlier with our lure showcase. Guys, we do this to try to get, like I say, I was talking about earlier, to get guys exposure that might not get as much as like Strike King and Booyah and Mega Bass and all of them. So, and a lot of these guys make really great baits. So, anyway, this right here is by Line Out Custom Tackle. Little mouse. Neat looking bait. It's jointed. It's one of the things I really hate to tell everybody because it's something I'd like to try maybe for a night tournament or two and see how well it does. But it's got that small size, so you see a lot of the rat baits and all that are a good size bait. This right here looks like it's going to, and I'll be doing a video on this here soon. So and doing a write up on it. But it's got a nice little rubber tail on it. James, I'm gonna get you one to you this weekend, and me and you will probably doing a video with it this weekend. So guys, stay tuned for that because like I said, me and James don't get together too much. When he does come up, we're going to be shooting a lot of video of some new baits and just fishing. Who knows what you're going to get out of this, but anyways, these are the two different colors he sent us. I got the link at the bottom on where you can find them on Facebook. These baits are going fast. I do know that. Let me go to a bigger screen here. See if I can find something to get that big head up in. There we go. Let's see. Let me transition. Anyways, check it out. It's kind of like it's got that wake bait bill, so you can reel it real slow, keeping it at the top of the water. But it's broken back. So that's Line Out Custom Tackle. Check them guys out. And not only do they do that, they got some custom painted crankbaits. This is one right here we got. It's like a 2.5 series kind of crankbait. It's really good looking finish on it, and it's got some really nice patterns on it. So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but this is kind of the stuff that they got, guys. If you can check them out, I know y'all really like this mouse. But I like I say, I'll be doing a write up on it, and we'll be doing shooting a video this weekend. So probably by next week, you'll get a short clip of it. But it's just a lot of great detail to it. James, I'll send you a picture of it. I just got these in the mail today, so everything worked out perfect. So guys, check them out. Also, to anybody else that is wanting to get their lures on our show and get you a good link to your show, to your webpage, send them to us and send us a little bit of information about it, and we'll go out and do some video testing and get them on our show. And this will be going up on our webpage here soon. So But other than that, James, you think I ought to tell that little story about my whole kayaking trip, or should I just leave that for another day?
I think you should leave them all in suspense.
That's what I'm going to do.
It's been one heck of a show.
Yeah, we'll save that for another show. So that way y'all can tune into the next one. And but other than that, I think it's a wrap for the night. It's been a really good show, and I just want to leave it on a good note. We actually didn't have no technical issues on this end. The other guys had some service issues where they're out in the middle of nowhere in Texas, and one coming through the. I better not say nothing. I will keep it clean. Coming around Chicago, but yeah, I had a good show. James, any side notes you'd like to add to the show, or before we get out of here?
No, I think you should thank all our sponsors, but
yeah,
and
yes, I'm sorry guys. It's been one of them trying to get everything in one show here. Yeah, I'll put that up at the end too as our outro. Also, guys, check out our new intro. I was trying to fit it into this, but I'm still trying to figure out the whole live thing and put an intro in. But we got a new intro. So if you get a chance, check it out. Let us know what you think. It's at the top of our page on our YouTube channel. So, but other than that, what's that? One Objective cookout soon. Hey man, I think we can work that out. We'll have to do something. James, we need to get it together and do another big tournament. I'm actually working with Bob's at the Creek Outfitters right now, and we're meeting tomorrow on a tournament format that I think James, me and you're going to have to get involved with and fish it. It's going to be a really awesome format, and I think everybody's going to like it. So stay tuned for that. Here I am rambling on, but I just want to. It's so much information that's been coming in through this weekend that I wanted to kind of get it out there. But yeah, I really want to thank Bob's up at Creek Outfitters. They're kind of our title sponsor for our show. They've done a lot for us. You can also check the link out on the bottom of in our comments, and all our other sponsors are down there as well. But also Missile Baits, Bigfoot Baits, JJ Custom Tackle, and Mystery Fishing Crate. Guys, if it wasn't for y'all, these giveaways wouldn't be possible, and it would just it sucked pretty much. So that's about what it would be. You ain't got no great giveaways to get some tackle out to some people. And so also want to thank Line Out Custom Baits. Y'all, I appreciate y'all sending this to us, and look forward to having this up soon for you guys. So everything we talked about tonight, guys, on our show is down in the bottom in the link, so check all of them out. And also, please go subscribe. Trying to get to the 200 mark and give away this great prize pack. So, James, I'm about out of breath, man. I can't talk no more. You got anything else to say?
No, I just want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate each and every one of y'all.
Yeah, we
and
really do.
Have a good night.
All right, guys. We'll talk to y'all later. See ya.